Hello everyone and welcome to the Matter Plan tutorial. Today we will be going over new features including our task completed due date logic released in the 1.43 release. Let's get started. So we're currently in our Matter Plan tutorial Matter in the Matter Plan tab, and we will create a new Matter Plan. So let's click the new Matter Plan button. So the first thing that is new here is our based on field. We now have the ability to select task completed date, another milestone item, or none. If we select none, neither of these options will be available in our third stage of assigning due dates. For the first video, we'll use task completed date, so let's select that. Let's hit next and head over to our create milestones. Now, the template here includes about 6 or 7 milestones. We're going to get rid of some of these just for the tutorial purpose. So we'll get rid of these. Just so it's a little bit easier, we'll only use 2 milestones. In this case, we'll use case assessment and pleadings. So now another new feature we have is the ability to drag and drop anything. So this is a complete drag and drop interface. So for instance, conflict check. If for some reason we wanted to move this below gather case objectives, we can simply grab conflict check and drag and drop it. Now if we want to move it back, we can do that as well. So every line item here is drag and drop, as well as in any milestone. The milestones themselves are actually drag and drop as well. So if you want to reorder case assessment below pleadings, that can be done in a drag and drop interface as well. You would just drag and drop case assessment to wherever location you wanted it. Another new feature is the ability to select multiple types. Now in our previous matter plan, all of these line items here were only tasks. However, we now have the ability to have a task or an event. So we'll use respond to response. We'll select that as an event. We'll change this name so it's a little more fitting. We'll say meet with client. We now have an event in our matter plan. Perfect. So let's get some estimated hours in. We'll just select some random numeric values here. And you'll notice we have total estimated hours of 10 for case assessment and 14 for pleadings. And once we select our assignments, you'll notice we are building an estimated budget based on the user and the amount of estimated hours. So we'll keep selecting these and we are done here. Perfect. So you also have the ability to select your task or event types. If the type is a task, you'll see all your task types here. So let's select some of these. Now, if the type is an event, you'll have a different list. You'll have the event types to select from. So here you'll see appeals, meetings, mediations, trial, and other. We'll select other. These are going to be different from all the other ones, which are the task types. Perfect. Now let's head over to the third stage. And this is where a lot of change is going to happen as well. So here we can actually manually select a date from a calendar now. So if I click on this little calendar icon, I can manually select any date. I can navigate between months, or I can stick within March and select the date here. So I'll select the 12th of March. Now, the pop-out icons. So you're going to notice every line item has a pop-out icon except for Meet with Client. And the reason there's no icon here is because this is an event type. So with event types, you just have the ability to select your start and end date, end times. So we will select the 25th of March for both of these, and we'll change our end time. We'll say 10:45. We'll click the green check button and get that populated. All right, awesome. So now let's use the pop-out icon. So what happens when we press this pop-out icon? So we get a based on field. Now when we click this field, we have two different options here. We have specific date and we have task completed date. We'll use specific date for this first instance. With specific date, it allows us to use this calendar to choose an actual date. So we'll say the 18th of March. And then it gives us the ability to calculate a date plus or minus from this March 18th date that we selected. So if I start with minus, it's going to calculate backwards. So if I go -3, you'll notice the calculated date changes from the 18th of March to the 15th of March. And that's if you want to work backwards. Now if I switch this to the plus icon, you'll notice the calculated date changes to the 21st of March. So let's go ahead and click the green check icon and get that populated as well. Awesome. So we now have two dates populated for conflict check as well as gather case objectives. Now, let's have a little fun and use task completed date. So task completed date is going to let you calendar a task based on the completion of a previous task. So one thing I want to note here is all the tasks without a date populated will not appear here. So for instance, if I start typing draft complaint, I cannot base this off draft complaint because draft complaint does not have a date yet. So it has to be something with a date. So conflict check and gather case objectives both have dates. So I can use both of those in this instance. So for instance, if I start typing conflict check, that will appear. Additionally, if I type gather case, that will also appear. So now, this will be calendared for 5 days after the completion date of gather case objectives. So we can now have task completed date logic for any of these tasks, as long as they're based on another task with a selected date. We can additionally have this task, so conduct fact investigation, this can have a completed date based on request evidence. So if I type request evidence and I say 3 days, I can do that as well. Now if I hover over these icons, these time icons, it'll actually tell you this milestone is depending on gather case objectives. And if I hover over the conduct fact investigation time icon, it'll tell me this milestone is depending on request evidence. So it'll let you know where the dependencies are. And those are the new features for task completed date in our matter plan. Thank you for watching this video.